All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome back, Travis.
We are here. Can y'all hear us? Okay.
Don't mess with that.
Why not?
Why'd you mess with that? You had it all set. You can't.
It's fine now. I can't make up my mind. No.
You can't leave it alone, can you?
Audience, y'all can tell us if the mic levels.
You got to pick at it. You got to pick at it.
I'm gonna pick at fucking everything, man.
Wait, what's your language?
What'd you do?
What? Hey, what happened?
Did you cuss?
Did you have a good Christmas, Travis?
I had a great Christmas. Did you?
Dude, you had a nice week off?
I had a week off. I'm still off.
You're still off.
I'm off till next Monday, man.
Man, that must be nice.
I've got my Camacho. You've got the Camacho. Those were my pop's favorites.
I got a Camacho.
I got me a San Cristobal Elegancia. This is a mild stout.
Ooh.
And I love it.
I like that accent. Is that Australian?
Yeah, it's Australian, mate.
Mm.
Elegancia.
Throw another shrimp on the bobby.
Totally Australian, bro.
Mm. Yeah.
All right, folks.
It's good seeing you, bro.
It's good to see you too, man.
Hey, shake and bake.
Merry Christmas, man. Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope everybody had a safe, happy, joyous Christmas. And for everybody else that celebrates other holidays, I really do not give a shit. Merry Christmas. That is all.
Nice fire.
Kwanzaa.
Hey man, don't be dissing no Kwanzaa. Man, don't be dissing no Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa or
don't be dissing no.
Can we diss the other ones?
Woman,
hold my hand.
You're like
hold my hand.
No,
folks.
No, I'm not.
We were told that we were going to get Christmas carols from Marcus, and I'm still waiting, bro.
Okay, look, you had a couple of simple assignments. The week before our last show, the week before Christmas, our last show, we went through a list of movies that are Christmas musts.
Christmas musts.
One of them was A Christmas Carol, which you didn't even know what that was. I guess you don't even know who Charles Dickens is. He was the rock star of his time.
Don't even care.
And he wrote A Christmas Carol. One of the...
Sounds like a shitty movie, bro.
No. Well, first of all, it was a book. Then it became a play. And then the movie's been done probably a dozen times since the 1930s. And you've never seen it. How do you not?
You're talking about Ebenezer.
Ebenezer Scrooge.
Oh, I've seen the play. I haven't seen the movie.
You got to see the movie.
Are we going to watch a movie tonight?
We can do whatever you want.
Why, whenever I come over here to watch a movie with you, it's always set up in your bedroom? I don't. Like, we got a TV out there.
Dude, that's horrible. That is so horrible.
I mean, we got a TV out there.
That TV doesn't even work in there, man.
This is why I won't watch movies with Mark, because he's like, there's a spot open right here.
Dude,
go over here. Man. And it's like, I went up into the upstairs room thinking, oh, there's going to be a couch. He took all the couches out. Now it's nothing but beds and TVs.
Dude, you know it's bad enough. I get feminazis accusing me of being a homo.
Oh, dude, I've heard about your
the feminazis hate me.
Your online rants.
Oh, well, I don't have any rants. I just post truth, and feminists, they hate me. And the ladies love me, and I love the ladies.
People legitimately think your real name is Jethro Bodine.
It is.
Okay, that's true. I'm not giving away any secrets.
Pruitt is my stage name.
Oh, Pruitt's your stage name.
Yeah.
Okay. So my agent has a stage name. That's good to know.
I got a stage name, bro.
That's really good to know, Marcus. Welcome to the Defiance Daily Show, folks. We're live from Groesbeck, Texas, home of the best Dollar General ever conceived or built by man. It's pretty impressive.
It is the best Dollar General store on the planet.
I think our buddy Justin almost found a girlfriend over there.
Did he really?
And then she smiled.
Oh, the one tooth.
They miss a couple teeth out here.
Old Yeller.
Groesbeck, Texas.
We call her Old Yeller.
Oh, I told him, I said, that shouldn't stop you none.
No.
I call him the Gash Basher.
Justin.
Sorry,
Poor
Justin.
Justin. Can't be making fun of Justin like things.
Man, you're gonna get the feminazi. You were just staring at.
Oh yeah.
Staring at.
Any way to get under a feminist, skin, I'm all about it.
Oh, that's not too hard.
No, it's easy.
Just breathe around them.
Dude, all I got to say is
and be a white male.
be a white male. I just say repeal the 19th, and they lose their freaking minds.
So is that what's been going on your Facebook feed now?
Well, there's lots of cases now for the repealing of the 19th, and a history lesson would show you that every single amendment post the War of Northern Aggression has destroyed the United States of America, which would include the 19th Amendment.
So women have screwed it up for everybody, or did we?
Well, we allowed it. It was a mating strategy for men. It's like
those don't typically pan out very well.
No, they don't, because women were against it. 95% of women in America in 1920 did not want.
Is that a fact?
That is a fact. There's a lot of reasons for it too. You know what? A lot of interesting side note. A lot of people think that voting is a right.
You want to correct that for the
class? Voting is not a right. Voting is a privilege.
Mm.
Do you know the difference between a privilege and a right?
What's that?
Well, a right is something that imposes nothing on anyone else. For instance, a right is the right to life.
Hmm.
Because you have a right to life, that doesn't do anything to me negatively. That does not affect me. Your right to life affects no one else. Voting affects everybody else.
Hmm.
That's why it's not a right. It's a privilege. And the founders were brilliant, and they knew why.
Well, that's, back when they had a lot of requirements to be able to vote.
Well, exactly.
Now it's just an age.
Well, yeah, it's just an age. Exactly. and they wanted to lower the age. And the founders were brilliant, and they knew.
You ever seen that on people now where on both sides they'll be complaining? They go, oh, these people, they get to vote. We kind of expanded that.
People always say they have a right to vote.
A right.
Yeah, it's not a right. It is a privilege. Do you know why most women in 1920 were against suffrage? There was a whole list. You know what some of the more popular ones were? Women in the 1920s were much smarter than the women today.
Mm.
They were also.
I think we could generalize that.
No. Yeah. Oh no, it's actually provable. There's empirical evidence that points to that. Women in the 1920s were much happier than women of today. But one of the biggest reasons why women were against suffrage was they didn't want to serve on juries.
Why would a woman not want to serve on a jury?
Isn't that interesting? Mm. Because they knew that they would be subject to horrible crimes.
Mm.
And
because back then, like,
ladies,
you weren't even allowed, like, showing your ankles was
no, it wasn't that. Ladies understood. Ladies appreciated and valued. Well, everybody, not just ladies, but men did too. Ladies were designed and created to be soft, not to be hard, not to be.
No, but I'm saying like the whole modesty approach.
Well, it wasn't just the modesty.
It was also for like they didn't want to be subject to the grotesque violence.
Exactly.
They didn't want to see it. They wanted the men to just handle it.
Exactly.
That was not something that
was going to go against the maternal instincts that they were created with and were gifted with by God, and they protected that because they knew how important that was for society, that they remained innocent, that they remained out of that. They didn't want to be exposed to that because they knew it would harden women. And so that was one of the reasons. You know, the biggest reasons why women, it's actually immoral for women to vote. You want to know why?
Why's that?
Think about it. Okay. So again, if you vote, your vote affects everybody, whether you're voting for an individual or you're voting for policy or any of these things. So are women subject to conscription? Do women... They can't be drafted. Do women have to register for the draft when they turn 18?
I don't know.
No. But you do.
I'll get arrested if I don't. That's what I was told.
Men have to. When they turn 18, they have 30 days. They have to go and sign up for. I know we no longer have a draft, but if there was ever a draft, that is how they draft you. So it's immoral for a whole subsection of our population
to decide the other people how they will be sacrificed.
And vote for policies that could lead to war that they will have no part of.
I guess that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense.
Makes sense to me. I've heard arguments on bringing back the draft because that would actually make people think about what we're doing a little bit more.
Well, if we were the ones who were actually deciding,
This is true.
you know,
I can't be doing that.
no.
Folks, I know we're live from the ranch today, but please don't forget to visit defiancepress.com. That's defiancepress.com. Christmas season has ended. Everybody's looking for a book all the time. Birthdays, or maybe you just want to read. Visit defiancepress.com. Visit our catalog there. Browse our books there. Also, if you're in the market for a book publisher, go to defiancepress.com. Hit that Get Published link. Follow the protocols there. Watch the video. Read the material. Very important to read the material and submit your manuscript, and we'll get back to you as soon as we possibly can. Now, so Mark, how do you feel about Somalia?
How do I feel about Somalia?
Do you want Somalians in your Texas community?
Yes. I think we need to bring about 2,000 or 3,000 here into Groesbeck.
You were thinking about starting a daycare center, too.
I was.
It's apparently a popular one in the Somali community.
Yes. The Somalis have got this down. Very profitable, by the way.
So I hear. You don't even need to have kids in your daycare.
No. You just need an address. A P.O. box.
Just a P.O. box address?
Yes,
deal?
and then you can make $2 or $3 million a year.
Okay.
You know what else they're doing?
What else are they doing?
And it's all based on Medicare or Medicaid, all these different, they're opening up these travel services for patients.
Oh, they're bringing back the travel agent?
No, not travel agent.
Okay.
So what it is they get funded, so they open up XYZ transportation. Okay, and all you need is a vehicle, and nobody checks on you, but you charge the government every time you take someone to a doctor's appointment or anything like that.
Oh my God.
Okay, and I think it's like $300 or $400 or $500 a trip.
Oh, okay. You get a couple thousand of those.
Yeah, you get a couple. Yeah, and you just all you do is you fill out a form and send it in.
That's it?
That's it, and then the government pays you through Medicaid and Medicare. And you don't have to show any proof. There's no oversight. And there's about, I think, in Washington State now, there's about 2,000 of these companies, and 90% of them are owned by Somalis.
Sounds like a good business model there. I would say it's a bold strategy, but it does seem to be working out for them.
It's working out really great because they're making millions of dollars. So you've got all these retards from Africa that are now millionaires.
A lot of retards in Africa.
Lots of retards. Well, they're all, their IQ is under retard level.
Well, let's go over some of this Minnesota billion-dollar fraud crisis.
Is it just $1 billion? I've heard that it's.
I'm sure it's a lot more. So this is
billion.
from Nick Shirley. His 42-minute video went viral over the weekend, and it spurred a federal investigation, which I don't know, that maybe in January that would have got me excited, but after a full year of seeing this, it doesn't really that excited.
Yeah.
But here we go. 42-minute video by Nick Shirley has ignited a national firestorm over what federal prosecutors now openly describe as industrial-scale fraud.
Yes.
Inside Minnesota's social services system, the video, viewed more than 100 million times, shows apparently empty daycare centers, autism clinics, and medical transport companies that nonetheless collect millions in taxpayer subsidies, and it's forcing Washington law enforcement and state officials to confront a scandal that's been festering for years. Now, one note I do want to make is that this isn't something that's new. This is something that's been known. In Nick Shirley's video going viral only kind of forced, I think, some of the action into this. So without that video, I don't know. Now, I did see a lot of left-wing outlets and influencers on social media try to poo-poo his video, but it's very obvious he's onto a very large. This is just one piece of it, too.
One tiny piece.
Kash Patel confirmed this week that the Bureau has already surged personnel and investigative resources into Minnesota after dismantling what he called a $250 million COVID food aid fraud scheme. We covered that earlier this year. But that case, Patel said, is merely the tip of a very large iceberg. Federal prosecutors now estimate that as much as $9 billion in Medicaid and social services spending across 14 vulnerable state programs since 2018 could be tainted by fraud, potentially making this the largest welfare fraud scandal in modern American history. On a weekday afternoon, so this was in December, Nick Shirley, 23 years old, and a Minneapolis resident named David, drove to a series of Somalian-run daycare centers, adult day programs, autism clinics, and medical transport companies across the Twin Cities. They had pulled state licensing and payment records beforehand. What they found, or rather what they didn't find, has now become the centerpiece of a nationwide political and law enforcement reckoning. At one location after another, the pattern was identical. Locked doors, darkened windows, that's right, they tinted the windows, no children playing, no staff visible, and when anyone answered, workers who refused to answer basic questions about enrollment services or daily operations. That's right. In some of this video, you can see them trying to set up the services there, and it just sounds like, nobody's there. Nobody's comprehending. The most infamous stop became a symbol of the entire scandal. A building in South Minneapolis displays a sign reading Quality Learning Center.
Quality Learing.
Quality Learing Center, Learing, misspelled with no N in learning. According to state records, that center is licensed for 99 children. Over the past few years, it has received $4 million in child care assistance payments. In 2025 alone, the facility pulled in nearly $2 million of state funds. Yet neighbors tell a starkly different story. One man who has lived nearby since 2017 told Nick that he has never, not once in 8 years, seen a single child enter or exit that building, during school hours. When Shirley and David knocked on the door during a typical weekday morning, they found no children, no parents, no functioning daycare operation. By the end of their field work, Shirley claimed to have identified over $110 million in suspicious payments tied to facilities that are either completely empty or operating at a fraction of their licensed capacity. So what separates Shirley's investigation from ordinary fraud allegations is his attempt to map out what appears to be a coordinated network of front companies rather than isolated bad actors. When independent researchers cross-reference corporate filings, shared addresses, and payment records, patterns emerge. So here's one of them. Mako Child Care Center Incorporated and Mini Child Care Center Incorporated share the exact same physical address despite being listed as separate corporations. A classic shell company technique for routing payments and obscuring ownership. Creative Minds Daycare was shut down by the state for violations. Within weeks, a nearly identical operation, Super Kids Daycare Center, opened at the same location under a different LLC, which is a textbook regulatory evasion maneuver. Clusters of companies in child care, adult daycare, autism services, and non-emergency medical transportation all connect back to the same handful of owners or corporate officers. This is how billion-dollar theft machine works. Maximize billing to state and federal programs, and when investigators finally close down one entity, shift the money flow to the next LLC over. Perhaps the strangest twist came when a TikTok user watching Shirley's videos decided to call the Google-listed phone number for one of the centers he exposed. Sweet Angel Childcare in Minneapolis. The line didn't ring to a front desk, it rang to a recorded greeting. And here's what it said. Thank you for contacting the office of Governor Tim Walz and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan. While innocent explanations do exist, incorrect Google data, reassigned phone number, the optics are politically explosive. Governor Walz is already under fire from whistleblowers who says his administration ignored fraud warnings for years. A fraud suspect daycare's phone number routing directly to his office became instant ammunition for critics demanding answers. And of course, here's the bigger picture here, right? To understand why Nick's video detonated an actual conversation, you must see what it landed on top of. Minnesota has already been ground zero for one of the largest social services fraud scandals in recent history, and the real scope is now only becoming clear. The Feeding Our Future case, so during the COVID-19 pandemic, we covered this, a nonprofit called Feeding Our Future was set up to subsidize meals for low-income children. Federal prosecutors say it became a $250 million theft machine, so we went on that. Operators created fake meal sites, fake rosters of children, recruited shell vendors, and then funneled the money into luxury homes, overseas real estate in Kenya, China, and high-end vehicles. The FBI has charged 78 defendants. More than 55 have already been convicted or pleaded guilty. Here's another one. A Medicaid program designed to help vulnerable people find and keep housing was supposed to cost about $2.6 million. By 2024, it was hemorrhaging over $100 million per year. Federal investigators described the fraud pattern: fake support meetings, forged signatures, companies billing for work that was never performed. At least 8 defendants have been charged. The state has now shut the entire program down. There was another one. Prosecutors allege that clinic owner Asha Farhan Hassan
That doesn't sound...
and her partners recruited Somali families, guaranteed every child would receive an autism diagnosis, and then split Medicaid reimbursements while paying parents $300 to $1,500 per month in kickbacks per child. One case alone alleges $14 million were stolen. The figure tells the story. Autism-related Medicaid claims in Minnesota exploded from $3 million in 2018 to $400 million by 2023. Here's the bottom line, folks. The U.S. Attorney's Office estimates across 14 fraud vulnerable Medicaid and social services programs in Minnesota, $18 billion in spending since 2018 is under review. Federal prosecutors say half or more of that could be fraudulent. I'm going to go and venture to say about 80 to 90% of that is probably fraudulent.
I'd say 90% plus.
Yep. $9 billion. That implies a potential loss. No, I'm going to go with 14. With 18. When you're talking about billions in stolen welfare and Medicaid dollars, 2 questions. Where did it go? And did any of it fund terrorism? Federal filings show millions wired to accounts in China and Kenya, lavish spending on luxury goods, overseas villas, and high-end vehicles. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent confirmed that his department is now investigating whether some of that money eventually flowed to Al-Shabaab, the Al-Qaeda-linked terror group in Somalia. Christopher Rufo, writing in City Journal, have argued that Minnesota taxpayers have effectively become the largest funder of Al-Shabaab and terrorist networks in Minnesota through welfare fraud and Somalia hollow money. Now, federal prosecutors and mainstream media have been cautious about terror finance-related claims. To date, no terror finance charges have been filed in Minnesota fraud cases. You know, you almost wonder, too, if some of these programs are set up intentionally to black channel money into the CIA, the FBI, maybe some of these other groups. So, $18 billion and no federal agency picked this up at all. Finding that really hard to believe. The New York Times, CBS News, and Minneapolis Star Tribune report that according to multiple federal law enforcement sources, there's currently no hard evidence in court to record that Minnesota fraud proceeds were directed to Al-Shabaab. Why would they do a direct link from their organization to Al-Shabaab, though? Shouldn't they be investigating the individuals involved and then finding out through those means if they were channeling money, not the agency itself? Is this another semantic game? Tim Walz, the current Minnesota governor, now finds himself in an impossible political position. Just months after his vice presidential bid, his state is becoming synonymous with one of America's largest fraud scandals. Whistleblowers inside the state's Department of Human Services say they warned about widespread fraud years ago and were punished for doing so. A group claiming to represent over 480 state staffers publicly accused Waltz of being 100% responsible for massive fraud in Minnesota and of systematically retaliating against staff who raised concerns. So you go to the Democratic governor, he shoots you down, probably calls you racist to boot, and finds other different ways to screw people like.
How much of that money was going back to the walls? I want to know how much this money is funneled back to Democrats, because you know
they're part of this, guys.
There was a quid pro quo on this whole damn thing.
Well, and of course the governor's office is insisting Waltz crack down on fraud. They point out that federal agencies removed guardrails during the pandemic and instructed states to move the money. That's some hard cracking down. You ask me, buddy.
Unbelievable. It's just.
Yeah, so anyway, Kash Patel did say it marked a turning point. In a detailed post on X, Patel confirmed that the Bureau has already surged personnel and investigative resources into Minnesota before Shirley's video went viral.
Yeah, okay.
The FBI, he said, has dismantled a $250 million food aid fraud scheme, but now views it as merely the tip of the iceberg. And of course, Patel is promising to follow the money and people will get arrested. We will see. We won't hold our breath over here. In Washington, House Republicans have dramatically expanded their investigation into this fraud. The House Oversight Committee and House Small Business Committee are now subpoenaing record from Governor Walz, Minnesota Attorney General, the SBA, the Treasury, the Justice Department. The SBA has frozen over $5.5 million in annual support to Minnesota resource partners and is now conducting a forensic review. So prosecutors will continue to unseal new fraud cases, housing fraud charges, autism fraud charges, Medicaid scheme after Medicaid scheme. The indictments are coming. They're not really showing signs of slowing down. To me, it's disappointing because we had to get basically a dude with an iPhone.
If he wouldn't have exposed us,
we wouldn't even be talking about it. On social media, millions of people are still sharing the clip of a child care center with a misspelled sign, empty rooms. Where are the arrests, and will we ever claw this money back? No. Here's what we know for certain. Minnesota has already proven hundreds of millions of dollars in fraud programs meant for children's meal, housing, medical services. Federal authorities say the true figure across all schemes is likely in the billions of dollars in that range. Much of the fraud has been run through Somali-linked businesses and nonprofits. Yeah, and his investigation doesn't stand alone. It appears to show the next layer of the system, daycares, adult day programs. So anyway, the FBI, the Treasury, and the DOJ are now playing catch-up with Nick Shirley, who did their job for them. So good on you, Nick Shirley. I think we need more independent journalists like that. And, he'll probably never come across this video, but be careful. Be very, very careful. These schemes and these operations, you're talking about third world.
Well, they already murdered that one politician,
That's
one
correct.
Democrat. What was that lady's name? That was killed by the staffer of Tim Walz, that weird-looking bald-headed guy that we
covered here on this story. We don't hear about that anymore. That story's gone.
Gone.
We need to go revisit that one.
She was murdered right after she voted against the bill. Remember? I mean, she was a Democrat.
Oh, that's right.
And they murdered her ass. Oh my God, dude, it's so disgusting. The whole thing is filthy, and nobody's going to prison. They're going to arrest a couple of, these low-life Somali, low-level that there's not going to be any politicians go to jail. There's not going to be any indictments. There's not going to be any frog walks. There's not going to be any money coming back. It's going to be freaking nothing.
Yep. And no, we're not here to be negative Nancy's, but it's kind of the
realistic.
I think we're all in the same boat. We all kind of see you know, we get a little bit excited. Well, we used to get real excited. Like January time frame, I was like, you know, let's see it. Now, I remember being cautiously optimistic then. We wanted to see the arrests. Folks, it's the end of December. It's the end of December. All we got is a foiled plot from the FBI on putting some bombs together for some tiny little left-wing group. And now it's turning out that the FBI has probably had a huge part in helping plan and foment that whole plan to begin with, which we covered here on the show too. So it's a little pessimistic here in our offices. We're just they're
going to get away with it.
We've got and that moves me over to the Epstein stuff, because Trump did put out a message, a video message, and he was saying Merry Christmas to everybody. For some Democrats, this will be the last Christmas they ever have, so maybe some things are beefing up a little bit here, but I do want to cover a little bit about the what happened after the deadline for Pam Bondi to release the files, what it transpired. So the long-awaited release of the Epstein files under the newly enacted Transparency Act has sent shockwaves through Washington, but not for the reasons Democrats hope. The smoking gun that was supposed to finally link Trump to Epstein's heinous crimes has failed to materialize. Instead, the release has reignited scrutiny over Bill Clinton's deep ties to the disgraced financier, while a clumsy attempt by the DOJ to redact a harmless photo of Trump has exposed the mainstream media's desperation to manufacture a scandal. Yeah, we heard for months from Democratic reps like Ro Khanna, ranking member Robert Garcia. They were hyping the release. This was going to be the final nail in the coffin for Donald Trump. And the narrative was simple: release the files, expose Trump, and end his presidency. But as the dust settles on the initial document dump from December 19th, that narrative has now collapsed. Far from implicating Trump in criminal activity, the files released so far reaffirm what has been known for years. While Trump moved in the same circles as Epstein in Palm Beach decades ago, there is zero evidence linking him to Epstein's predation. In fact, newly surfaced emails show even Epstein complaining that Trump knew about the girls and had asked Ghislaine Maxwell to stop, a detail that arguably exonerates Trump rather than implicates him. Former Attorney General Bob Barr's previous assessment holds firm. The prosecution team found no evidence of Trump's involvement in Epstein's crimes. The bombshell Democrats promised is a dud. And, you know, the big part to me on that is the Democrats don't care about this shit. They never cared about Epstein. They never cared. Well, obviously, Bill Clinton was a frequent flyer on the Lolita Express.
Oh, yes.
They're trying to touch this stuff to Trump in every way possible while conveniently ignoring the very glaring and obvious fact that Bill Clinton was a constant part of Epstein's inner circle with this stuff. But again, some of what was released was heavily redacted. Thomas Massey went out there and was scolding Pam Bondi over it, and threatened to do some more legal action in order to get these files released. So, to my understanding, that has been done. We've seen a lot more photos. Now, the media made this stupid scandal of this, so let me talk about this. Desperate to salvage the narrative, the mainstream media and DOJ manufactured a controversy. A photo of President Trump, Melania Trump, Jeffrey Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell, an image that has been public for years, was inexplicably removed from the DOJ's release shortly after upload. Now, this was a common photo, by the way. This is a photo we've all seen. I remember seeing it in the Netflix documentary. It was nothing new. But what they had done is they basically removed it, or someone in the agency, I'm convinced, in the DOJ, removed the file and then made it look like Trump got a photo removed. Can you believe it? Oh my God, that's the smoking. And it turns out, no, just like the redacted statement from Virginia Giuffre's testimony, and her name was redacted, even though we all knew that from previous records. So, needless to say, games are still being played. You got Democrats that are trying to tie it to Trump, while also pushing away the obvious implications to their own politicians and base members. Anyway, The media immediately pounced on it, spinning the removal as a nefarious Trump cover-up. However, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche ridiculed this framing, noting the photo is widely available and its removal was a bureaucratic decision to protect victims allegedly depicted in the background, a claim later retracted when the photo was reinstated. So they did reinstate the photo. The attempt to censor the photo backfired spectacularly. By hiding it, the DOJ gave the media a pretext to run headlines linking Trump to Epstein, despite the photo showing nothing illegal. Again, this was a photo that we've all seen before. But again, you know, with this stuff, the Trump administration and people in the cabinet keep finding ways to fuck up the PR campaign associated with this. So, Trump and his advisors still not doing themselves any favors with this kind of stuff. As other independent outlets have noted, this was likely a calculated move by actors within the DOJ to create suspicion where none existed. So that's how we know Trump's not implicated, so which makes it even more frustrating with the messaging he's taking on this Epstein stuff, a Democratic hoax or whatever the case may be. But you got to be better about the PR angle to this stuff. You can't keep giving them ammo. And the fact that the media and the Democrats are so desperate to try to tie anything scandalous to it shows that they still have nothing. They still have nothing. So is this about the victims or is this about going after Trump? Because what Mark and I want to see here, and I think I can speak for, we want to see high-profile arrests because the people that were involved in Epstein are still in power. They're still running around. They're in media. They're in Hollywood. They're all over the place. They're international, mostly in the West internationally. And we're not seeing anything from it. While the media hyper-focuses on a single photo of Trump, they're willfully ignoring the elephant in the room, which is Bill Clinton. The new files feature former president prominently, including never-before-seen photographs and flight logs that deepen the questions surrounding his relationship with Epstein. Unlike Trump, who banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago, Clinton took dozens of flights on Epstein's Lolita Express. Where is the outrage, Tucker Carlson asked. We have flight logs, we have photos, we have victim testimony placing Clinton on the island, yet the media is obsessed with the photo of Trump at a dinner party. They told you the files would destroy Trump. They lied. The files are destroying the narrative. Clinton is the one with the problem, and they're terrified. It's not just Democrats who are unhappy.
What are they terrified about? Everybody knows what Bill Clinton is. The Democrats aren't. I mean,
he's got rape victims that happen at one of these debates. This isn't rocket science, folks. I mean, there's enough there.
This is Bill Clinton protecting from what? Nobody. The Democrats don't care that he's a rapist. Nobody. Oh my God, dude! It's just grotesque.
It's infuriating. And so we know there's people furious at Pam Bondi. I know Rand Paul, he slammed the partial release as a big mistake. That's right. So Pam Bondi, on the deadline, she implements a partial release.
Which isn't a release.
That's
not a release.
She's a problem.
Oh,
she's a problem.
She's disgusting.
It was a big mistake for the Trump administration, warning that the secrecy suggests a cover-up, even when there isn't one. My suggestion would be to give up all the information. Just release it. Any kind of indication that there's not a full reveal will just plague them for months.
It is a cover-up. But it's not a cover-up protecting Democrats or Bill Clinton. That's not the cover. The cover-up is, who was Jeffrey Epstein working for?
That's right. Who were his clients? Who was he working for?
Who was he working for?
And who else was visiting the island doing God knows what to those kids?
That's the cover-up.
And, Rand Paul's got a point here. Just release it all, or, a partial reveal is just going to plague you. I got news for Rand Paul. This has plagued Trump's administration for months now. It's plagued him pretty much the whole year because of the rhetoric he's taken on it.
This started when they did that notebook thing for the influencers.
That's right.
That's when this started.
When they started the rollout with the binders, that was the most embarrassing
that
thing,
was
man.
when everybody went,
they go, oh shit, and then they open up the binder and go, this is
and that's
we
when
already
we knew
have this.
We're being played.
We're being played.
We're being
Remember
played.
It said phase one?
Phase one. And Pam Bondi said what? She had all the files on her desk.
They did that, and then Bongino Patel go on camera and say he killed himself. So.
Oh my God, dude.
So Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna threatened to hold AG Bondi in inherent contempt of Congress, a rare move that could theoretically see the Attorney General arrested by the Sergeant at Arms if she fails to comply. Mike Cernovich took note to X. He voiced his frustration of the MAGA base. Bondi is protecting the system, not Trump. We didn't vote for redactions. We voted for truth. Release it all or step down. And it's really that simple. To me, it's really that simple.
Here's the thing: they can't release it all because the stuff that we really want to see is gone.
Oh yeah,
it's gone, dude. No, it's gone.
And the ultimate failure is the lack of justice, as Benny Johnson and Matt Walsh pointed out. Releasing the files is meaningless without prosecution.
Right.
The grassroots riot demanding that Bondi's DOJ stop playing defense and start issuing indictments. Here's what Candace Owens said. We aren't seeing justice for the victims, posted again. We are seeing a reality show. If Clinton is in the files, why is he free? If the elites are compromised, why are they still in power? Bondi needs to act. The Epstein Transparency Act has exposed the Democrats' bluff. And here's a couple quotes on this. The smoking gun evidence, nothing on Donald. I mean, Bill Clinton is all over this stuff. And so it continues to go on. So
now here's the other thing about Bill Clinton and any of this. So arrest him for what? All right, we got pictures of him in a swimming pool. So here's the thing. What you'd be able to arrest Bill Clinton for would be raping an underage girl.
Correct.
Okay, are there any pictures of Bill Clinton having sex with an underage girl? If there's no pictures of that, well then there's nothing.
Well, and where's the victims? The victims are probably dead, guys.
Well, no, the victims are out there, but I mean,
the ones that are saying that Bill Clinton raped them.
Yes.
Those ones are.
Oh, they're gone.
They're gone. I mean, anything that could tie this to it, and we know immediately after Epstein's arrest, that was the critical time to really get a lot of people wrapped up into this. And I think to that point, it's nothing to do with it's either Trump or they're protecting Biden. It's a whole system that's being protected, and Bondi's part of it.
She's part of it.
She's part of it.
Now, here's the question. Is that why Trump brought her in? Because I can tell you this right now. I think Trump has decided he wants plausible deniability. I don't think he really knows a whole lot about this.
Well,
and it's on purpose.
Folks, you got to go back and remember that Matt Gaetz was originally slated for that position.
That's exactly right.
Matt Gaetz is in that position. We're not sitting here having this conversation,
No.
I'm convinced. No matter what you think about Matt Gaetz in there, that was the original pick. This is one of these.
You know how they tried to take him out? How did they try to take out Matt Gaetz? They
Sexual
accused
assault.
him of raping young girls.
They did the same thing with Kavanaugh, okay? They did the same thing with Trump, too. All right?
And it's all been, he's been totally cleared up. It was all
now
bullshit.
Gaetz went from, and he dropped his Congress seat. So not only did we lose him from his government position, he wasn't even picked for a cabinet spot either.
Oh my God, dude.
So this is another mistake from the Trump admin, repeating the same mistakes from the first term, and the biggest one from the first term was letting General Flynn go.
Absolutely.
That was by far, that was probably the biggest critical error of the Trump admin. Now this one here, it's looking like Matt Gaetz might be another one of those bad moves.
Oh my God.
Just
It's
let
just
the Democrats
sickening.
accuse them and put your guy in, because they can call, Democrats can literally call for the other side to be murdered at this point and they'll still be voted in. So why are we playing this game? And the Republicans now, you need to denounce this, you need to denounce that, you need to denounce Candace Owens and Tucker. Man, we are on a losing fucking team. Are we not? We got the House, the Senate, and the presidency, and somehow,
And the Supreme Court.
and we're still losing.
No.
Guys, this is not looking good for the midterms, because what point is there? If we're just going to get jellyfished, spined politicians and bureaucrats to get in there, and everybody just wants to keep these agencies going, I mean, what's the point? What is the point in participating at this point? I mean, really.
The whole
Really?
thing is just, it's...
You know, it may get really bad before it gets any better, and that might include a full sweep of the House and the Senate and the presidency in this next go-round, and it would be a bloodbath for us, folks. It'll be a bloodbath. Now, this is something else I wanted to harp on, because a lot of people talk about the leftovers from different administrations, and I think we're looking at that all wrong. I don't really consider this to be, oh, it's a holdover from the Biden administration. It's a whole system protecting itself. That's the only role of government at this point, is self-preservation. The Daily Beast, of all places, has quietly validated what administration officials previously dismissed as paranoia. Susan Monarez, RFK Jr.'s handpicked CDC director, was actively working to subvert her own boss's directives while privately assuring career officials she would undermine his agenda.
Jim Christmas.
This revelation, buried in a broader report on her dismissal, confirms that the conflict between political appointees and entrenched bureaucracy extends far beyond policy disagreements and into deliberate obstruction of elected leadership. So, from conspiracy theory to confirmed reality, according to the Daily Beast's own reporting, Monarez was privately assuring health officials that she would reverse her own boss's directives while publicly serving as Kennedy's Senate-confirmed CDC director. The administration transforms what's critics called a baseless conspiracy theory into documented insubordination. Monarez reportedly promised former CDC Chief Medical Officer Deborah Horry, "Please wait. When I come, I will make changes," urging her not to resign. The timeline reveals escalating tensions. Confirmed on July 29th of this year, Monarez lasted only 29 days before her ouster. During an August 25 meeting, that's a cool spider. Is that a widow?
No.
On August 25th meeting, where did it go?
It's over there. It's not a black widow. He's fine.
Does he love me?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the timeline, on August 25th, Kennedy issued two non-negotiable demands. First, that she approve every recommendation from the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices without scientific review, a committee Kennedy had already purged and restacked with allies. Second, that she terminate career vaccine policy officials without justification. When Monarez refused on both conditions, Kennedy informed her he had already contacted the White House about her removal. Monarez's legal team framed her resistance as defending scientific integrity, stating she refused to rubber stamp unscientific, reckless directives. However, the Daily Beast revelation that she was simultaneously promising reversals of Kennedy's policies to career staff suggests her motivations were more complex than pure scientific principle. That's to say the least, right? This dual posture, public compliance paired with private resistance, exemplifies the bureaucratic maneuvering that has plagued the Trump administration's second term. So, kind of the same stuff. It was a lot worse in the first term, but the Monarez case represents neither an isolated incident nor a simple policy disagreement. It reflects systemic resistance by career officials embedded across federal agencies, creating a parallel governance structure that operates independently of political leadership. So, the health departments, HHS has been ground zero for this conflict apparently after Monarez's dismissal. 4 senior CDC leaders immediately resigned. Over 1,000 current and former HHS employees subsequently demanded Kennedy's resignation. Is it my understanding even Lindsey Graham came out to call for his resignation? I could be wrong about that, folks.
I'm not sure about that.
Anyway, this goes on and on, folks. So, whether you're talking about the DOJ, you get your good guys in there. These agencies are too big now. They are entrenched with career bureaucrats and politicians. And putting your own team in there isn't going to suffice. We are at the point now where it's becoming obvious. What is that? What was that? The too big to fail bank shit that was going on. These government agencies are too corrupt to run.
Right.
It's time for them to be dismantled, regulate things back to the state, and it's really that simple.
No, it's totally corrupt.
It's really, really.
You have to burn the
that
whole
simple.
thing down.
You have to burn the whole fucking thing down. All right, I got another one here.
Because imagine any other administration. Trump say what you want, and I'm not anti-Trump. I know you're not anti-Trump. But at the end of the day, if Trump can't clean this up,
Nobody can.
nobody's going to clean this up.
Nobody
can.
Nobody can. And, you know, again, Bongino's stepping down, right? So it'll be official in January. I am so curious to hear how he covers this.
How does he come back? Now, Travis, how does he come back? What does he say?
I don't know what
he can't divulge.
He can't say anything.
He can't say what he discovered.
Can't say anything. All he can probably say is it's really bad.
Does he double down on?
It's worse than what we thought.
The spider went over there, buddy. He ain't gonna bother you. Do you think that he doubles down and says, "Folks, trust me, I saw the video, and Epstein killed himself"? Do you think he doubles down on that? Because we all know
if he
that
does
is
that,
bullshit.
then he's going to lose 90% of his audience.
Yeah, he's done.
Because nobody's going to want to.
Nobody believes that.
Nobody wants to hear another Sean Hannity.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear another mainstream hack, and I've always had my qualms about Bongino before, but man, this is bad, folks. This is looking awfully bad. Not good stuff. All right, let's turn our attention over to the latest developments in the Tyler Robinson case. And I know I pulled this article a little while ago, so I'm probably not going to get everything into this, but just wanted to give a quick update. Today there was a hearing. It was not about guilt or innocence, and there was no change to Robinson's plea. He has pleaded not guilty. He has not pleaded guilty, and under the law, he is still presumed innocent. Instead, the fight in court today was over how much the public and press are allowed to see this high-profile case. Earlier today, Judge Tony Graff Jr. held a virtual pretrial hearing focused on media and public access to the proceedings. Wait, this isn't new. Anyway, he did not personally speak on the record. There was no new plea entered, and his custody status did not change. The key development is about transparency. Judge Graff ordered the release of the transcript from a previously closed hearing back in October. That was October 24th. The earlier hearing was closed to the public and the press at the time, and it dealt with issues like Robinson's courtroom clothing, use of restraints, cameras, and how much of those images could be broadcasted. Going forward, the October transcript will be made public with some redactions.
No, well, of course.
Portions that touch on security details or matters that the court believed could harm Robinson's right to a fair trial will be blacked out, but the default is now disclosure rather than secrecy. Judge Graff also opened the door to releasing audio from that October hearing, again with redactions where needed. And while he did not formally grant the media coalition full party to status in the case, he did make it clear that news organizations must receive better notice and a chance to argue before any future attempt to close a hearing or seal records. So, fairly good update. In practical terms, that means that the press will be treated as an interested participant anytime transparency is on the line. What did not change are the ground rules for the cameras. So Judge Graff has already ruled that Robinson is allowed to appear in civilian clothes during pretrial hearings, but he will remain in what the court calls least restrictive restraints because of the seriousness of the charges. At the same time, media outlets are forbidden from showing Robinson in shackles or filming him being brought out in and out of the courtroom. The judge has warned that any violation of this decorum could result in cameras being kicked out entirely. So
question. If there is a release of information, but there are redactions, does that mean that there's been a release of information?
Well, according to the government standards these days, yes.
But that's not.
They gave us the information technically.
They didn't give us anything.
These are the games they play, man.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, so it sounds like, cameras may be allowed into, but they're not going to create what he termed as a content tornado. While today's hearing was about access, the defense has lodged a separate potentially significant attack on the prosecution itself. So Robinson's lawyers have filed a motion to disqualify the entire Utah County's attorney's office from the case, alleging a conflict of interest. According to that motion, a senior prosecutor's close family member was actually at the Turning Point USA event when Kirk was shot within roughly 80 to 90 feet of Kirk and fled the scene, leaving a backpack behind that later appeared in evidence photos. The defense says that family member was texting the prosecutor in real time about the chaos and what they were seeing. Those messages, the filing claims, were shared immediately with County Attorney Jeff Gray and others before any formal conflict screen or ethics review was put in place. That's an odd one.
The more shit they do like that,
God, dude.
then it's just, what does it open the door to, Travis?
Conspiracy.
Endless conspiracy theories, it's just...
You know, this is interesting. Robinson's team argues that this personal connection helps explain why prosecutors move so fast to seek the death penalty. Utah law gives them up to 60 days after arraignment to make that decision, but in this case, the notice to pursue capital punishment was essentially bundled with the initial charging documents in mid-September. They say that looks more like an emotional reaction than a measured decision. The prosecutor involved has acknowledged the family member's presence at the event. That's a weird one. But insists it does not prevent him from ethically handling the case and that the family member will not be called as a witness. The Utah County's Attorney's Office opposes being removed from prosecution and maintains that it can continue. That conflict of interest dispute will be a major focus of the next in-person hearing. On the other side, the state's position is unchanged. Prosecutors allege that Robinson planned and carried out deliberate politically motivated attack, and they're still seeking the death penalty. They point to a combination of forensic and digital evidence. There's been no public indication of a plea deal or negotiations. As of the latest reporting, Robinson has not admitted guilt and is contesting both the case and the ways the state is prosecuting it. It's getting a little oddball, guys. Getting a little odd. Maybe it's normal for part of this. I wouldn't know. Maybe you would know. To me, this is just this is weird. So. And I just want to touch on this because here's the next steps for the case. So January 16th will be the conflict of interest hearing. The court will hold an in-person hearing on the defense motion to disqualify the Utah County Attorney's Office over the alleged family member conflict. That ruling could determine whether this prosecution stays with the current team or gets reassigned. In late January, early February, there'll be some additional pretrial hearings. The court has set additional dates for status updates, discovery issues, and if necessary, follow up on media access and decorum orders. May 18th through the 21st, multi-day preliminary hearing. This is going to go on for a while.
Oh my God, it's going to be a nightmare.
A 3-day preliminary hearing is scheduled for mid-May. That will be the first major evidentiary proceeding in open court where prosecutors must lay out enough of their case to establish probable cause and bind Robinson over for trial. How much of that proceeding the public gets to see and hear will test the transparency framework Judge Graff reinforced today. So we won't hear shit significance about this case other than possible reassignment until May. This is going to... No firm trial date has been set, and given this is the death penalty prosecution, most observers expect a multi-year timeline before any jury is even seated. So,
multi-year before the jury is even seated.
Yeah. So again, just to recap, virtual hearing was about the openness, not the evidence. The judge ordered previously secret October hearing transcript to be released with some redactions. Limits on cameras and images of shackles stay in place. The next major clash is whether the current prosecutors have a conflict of interest, which again will be on January 16th. And then the 3-day preliminary hearing is set for May 18th through the 21st. We will cover it here on the Defiance Daily Show. Hopefully, we get a lot of insight as it's going on there, Marcus.
No.
One can hope.
I just think it's going to be a complete total shit
No,
show.
it might be a shit show. Now, this one I think you would find interesting. And folks, I did want to cover the Brown shooting, but I really want to dig into this a little bit more before I cover that one.
What do you want to dig into? What do you want to dig into? You think like
The Brown University. We'll tune in on Monday's show on January 5th.
Sounds right.
We'll cover it then. All right. This one was interesting because Mark's been he's been talking about Wyoming a lot, and now I'm going to scare him out of it.
Oh, bring it.
The new normal, why massive drone swarms are hunting Wyoming's energy grid. In the high deserts of southwest Wyoming, the sun sets, the temperature drops, and the locals wait for the lights. For over 13 months, the night skies above Sweetwater County have been the stage for a silent, terrifying performance. Listen to those folks. Between 2 and 3 a.m., swarms of unidentified aircraft described by law enforcement as having capabilities far beyond commercial technology descend on the Jim Bridger power plant. They fly in grid patterns. They hover for hours, and sometimes they bring what local sheriffs call a mothership. This is not a conspiracy theory from the fringes of the internet. This is the official reality reported by the highest law enforcement officers in the state. And yet, the federal government has offered only one response, which is dead silence. So, let's
do what now?
Isn't this pretty
Okay,
wild?
hang on.
This is pretty wild, right?
Hang on.
Remember all these drones that were popping up on the East Coast?
Yeah, over New Jersey. Okay, yeah.
And
right.
they were popping up in Britain
All right,
as well?
Southwest. I'm trying to think here. Southwest Wyoming. That's okay. Southwest Wyoming. I mean, okay. I need to look at a map and see what all where does it say exact Bridger what now? Is that the Bridger National Forest or
Jim Bridger Power Plant? This is in Sweetwater County.
Sweetwater County in Wyoming.
Southwest Wyoming. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Since late 2024, residents and deputies in Sweetwater, Sublette, and Campbell counties have watched this phenomenon evolve from random lights into a coordinated operation. Could you imagine living in Wyoming, seeing this, and then it's happened for a year and nothing?
Buddy.
Nothing. It's probably the government.
I need to go check that out, don't I?
I think so. Yeah, so initially that's what residents were saying. It's over these power plants, and it was initially these random objects. It's like, whoa, now they're flying in grid patterns over the power grid. It sounds a little interesting. So, according to Jason Mower, a spokesperson for Sweetwater County Sheriff's Office, the incursions have become so routine that they're now simply the new normal. Residents have stopped calling 911 because they know no one is coming to stop it. But the details from law enforcement are a little bit chilling. Sublette County Sheriff K.C. Lair recently went on recording describing a hierarchy to the swarms. His deputies have observed a massive primary craft, which Lair compared to the size of a Volkswagen vehicle, hovering silently while smaller drones around it work like worker bees. What? He's quoted to say, "We've had 2 accounts of very large drones and several smaller drones flying in a grid pattern around the singular large drone."
Okay, now wait, first of all, I want you to think about Southwest Wyoming. What comes to mind when you think of a Wyoming person? First of all, they're armed.
They're armed.
And then they have weapons. They're
and they've seen all kinds of shit out there in that.
I mean, if I'm going to have a shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
Why not take a shot?
Why not?
Why isn't it somebody...
Well, we're getting to that. So
okay.
Listen to this. These are not hobbyist quadcopters. Commercial drones have a battery life of 20 to 40 minutes. These objects hold their station in high winds of the Red Desert for hours.
Yeah, that's
scanning the ground below before they vanish into the dark.
Okay, this
is weird.
This is weird.
This is super weird. Now, while Washington remains quiet, a political war has erupted in the ground of Wyoming. Earlier this year, frustration boiled over in the state legislature. Lawmakers passed Senate File 132, a bill explicitly authorizing local law enforcement to destroy or disable drones operating over critical infrastructure.
Okay.
The bill triggered a constitutional showdown. Governor Mark Gordon vetoed the legislation, arguing that it would put local deputies in a catch-22 by asking them to violate federal aviation laws that prohibit shooting at aircraft. The legislator didn't care. In a rare and defiant move in March, of this year, the Wyoming Senate voted 23-8 to override the governor's veto, effectively telling federal government that if they wouldn't protect Wyoming's airspace, the state will do it themselves.
Well, hell yeah.
I mean, why is that even a
discussion?
controversy? Why is that a controversy? All right, the government's not saying anything about it. Well, we don't know what these are. We're going to start shooting them. No, well, don't do that. Well, why not?
Why not?
So what does the governor know?
Now, wait a second. Aircraft. So you're telling me that if I've got a drone over my backyard, down close, whatever, I can't take that out with my shotgun? Bullshit. Yes, you can.
You do one of those over here at Groesbeck.
Yeah, see what happens.
The most unsettling aspect of the story is the behavior from federal officials. In January of this year, shortly after Trump's inauguration, addressed similar wave of drone sightings in New Jersey. Remember, we covered that.
Yes.
Dismissing them as authorized by the Federal Aviation Administration. However, that explanation collapsed in Wyoming. Sheriff John Groesbeck and other local officials have repeatedly contacted the FAA, only to be told that there are no flight plans, no authorizations, and no known operators for the swarms over the Jim Bridger power plant. Even more baffling is the silence of U.S. Representative Harriet Hagman.
Yes, where's the congresswoman?
Sheriff Groesbeck personally escorted the congresswoman to a site in the desert where she witnessed the objects with her own eyes.
Holy crap, are you kidding me?
Yet, despite one of the most vocal critics of federal overreach, Hagman's office has refused to issue a public explanation, fueling speculation that she has been read in to a classified program she cannot discuss. When Wyoming lawmakers grilled Adjutant General Greg Porter about the issue, he admitted the National Guard had no equipment to stop the drones and refused to discuss UAPs, that's unidentified anomalous phenomenon, in an open hearing. This is not the first time Wyoming has been watched. Veterans of the region remember the mystery drone wave of 2019 through 2020, where similar grid searching swarms terrorized rural Colorado and Nebraska before disappearing without a trace. A massive FBI and FAA task force found nothing, but the darker context lies just east of the current sightings. Wyoming is home to F.E. Warren Air Force Base, which controls 150 Minuteman III nuclear missiles.
Right, yeah, exactly.
The base has a documented history of UFO incursions, most notably in October 2010, when a cigar-shaped object allegedly hovered over the base as 50 nuclear missiles simultaneously dropped offline, for nearly an hour.
Yep, I remember that.
Nearly an hour. While the current wave is focused on energy infrastructure, coal plants, and oil fields, the proximity to America's nuclear arsenal adds an existential weight to the sightings. So, it could be.
So nobody knows where they're coming from.
These could be U.S. advanced U.S. military surveillance platforms to testing domestic vulnerabilities. This could be foreign adversarial mapping out the U.S. power grid, or it could be something else entirely. So yeah, this is still going on. So yes, this is from Cowboy State Daily. This was on the 15th of December. They're just constantly seeing these drones all the time. Apparently, this is like the sheriff was saying, it's kind of the new normal. So if you're in southeast Wyoming, or was that southeast? Southwest Wyoming, you can go pop over to the
Sweetwater County, or
go to the Jim Bridger power plant and see if you can see some of these things that are happening there, Mom.
Dang, I gotta go.
That's pretty.
I gotta check it out.
What is it though?
Oh, no telling. I gotta check it out.
You know, you always wonder if these are just programs that we're just not let in on, and usually that's how.
Well, if you got drones that are in the air hovering for hours, yeah, the battery technology for drones is, well, for commercial
it's
use,
limited.
It's 30 to 40, maybe 40 minutes. It's more around.
Even
30
the
minutes.
military ones, what, like 2 hours?
Well, they've got different types of drones and this and that. They've got gas powered and thing, but I'm thinking like quadcopter type drones. First of all, we need to see a picture of what these drones even are. These like do they look like Predator drones, or do they look like quadcopter drones?
Or do they look like something otherworldly?
Yeah.
To me, flying in grids sounds
and
like
hovering.
Yeah.
That sounds like your quadcopter.
Like mapping, kind of maybe mapping.
That is crazy.
Some pretty wild shit.
That's crazy.
And of course, I wanted to cover that, man, because I saw that, and I used to be big on the UFO stuff. Now I just think it's us.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, you'd be stupid to think there's no other life outside of our planet, and I agree with that. But I think when it comes to this kind of stuff, it's something else. I don't think it's anything. Maybe some of them, in the spiritual realm, I've heard people talk about. I do want to see pictures. I didn't see pictures before I pulled the article.
Yeah, where the
but the
pictures
ones
of
in
this?
New Jersey and all that, those were definite man-made craft.
Yeah.
Now there was a show called Paranormal Witness, and anytime my rule of thumb is as soon as I hear an abduction one, I check it.
So you don't buy into the whole abduction where you probed?
I don't.
You don't.
I haven't heard a story that's like convincing to me. Now, the one thing I will say that's weird about the abduction stories I have heard is they all have some of the same similar.
Did you ever see the movie Fire in the Sky? The true story
No.
about the abduction in Arizona?
No.
That's pretty crazy.
Some of these, I do know some of these, whenever there's correlative, similar patterns in what happens in the abductions, that's what makes me like, oh, maybe there's something there. But I think a majority of the people that say they were abducted are full of shit.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people like attention seeking. It's a great way to.
But what I will say is, I forgot, it was an episode, it was called Paranormal Witness. You could probably get it on Amazon. But there was one episode that fascinated me completely because it was multiple counties that witnessed this giant, I'm talking like 3 football field size.
You got the one up in Missouri.
It might have been Missouri.
And the police that were chasing it.
They were chasing it.
Yeah, it was like for 30
They were
40
going
minutes.
county to county.
It was a triangle
and like
shape.
on the show,
Yeah. No, I've seen that one.
everybody's witnesses are describing
Oh,
it.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
People are calling in to 911,
Yep.
and they're all saying the same shit. And then you got dispatchers that were on the show.
How about the Phoenix Lights?
The Phoenix Lights
Dude,
is a famous.
the Phoenix
Lights
Lights
is a famous one because that one is so obviously.
And you got so much video of it. And then the military's explanation of that.
that.
A-10s dropping flares. Dude,
Well, I mean, of course they're gonna have those kind of.
But
It's a military drill.
I saw
it's a
the-
weather balloon.
there was lots of really good video of that thing.
So that one I remember, and I haven't looked into like the UFO stuff in a minute, which is crazy because I was honestly convinced that it was a psyop, and I'm still convinced that part.
I've been to the entrance to Area 51.
Have you really?
And that is a very, very spooky. That is a crazy feeling because it's out literally in the middle of nowhere. It's in the Nevada desert. And the closest town is a little town called Rachel, Nevada. Is your phone on? What's going on?
Get in the show, baby. I'll call you back.
Is she okay?
Yeah.
Rachel, Nevada is population 12. It's where the little alien is. Anyway, that's where you go. It's the extraterrestrial highway. And it's on the extraterrestrial highway. It's just a 2-lane blacktop highway. That's the only thing that's out there. And you go there and they'll give you a map to how to get to the Area 50, to get to Area 51. And they'll warn you. They'll tell you, hey, drive very carefully because there's not an actual gate at the entrance. But, there's 2 posts coming out of the ground. You've probably seen pictures of it. It says, lethal force, is, you can't go past this point. And, but there was, at the time, it was a black mailbox. Steve Medlin was on the name was on the black mailbox where you turn off extraterrestrial highway. Going from Rachel, you make a right, and then you go down and you follow for 15 miles or whatever it is down this dirt road. And you get there, and there's nobody. I mean, there's nobody out there.
Yeah.
When I say there's nobody out there, there's nobody out there. And you show up, and sure as shit,
We're getting like a bad
there's
feeling.
no. It's just the bad feeling you get is that you're out there by yourself. Nobody's around. if they wanted to just say, hey, let's jack with this person, or you would disappear or something
they could.
Dude,
Nobody can help.
No,
Yeah.
there's nothing. And sure as shit, when you pull up there, I didn't get that close because I was just like, what if my truck rolls in? You just have all these feelings,
Oh,
so
no.
I kind of pull over to the side, and sure enough, right there on that rise, here comes an SUV, and it pulls up, and it pulls up, and you see it, and they're there for you. They're there for freaking you, bro.
That's crazy.
And it's amazing. And so, yeah, it's something you need to do.
Yeah, and I always wonder, some of those folks. I bet there's people that have seen some of the craziest shit we couldn't even possibly imagine. I'm absolutely convinced that at some of these sites, probably ancient civilizations, histories are in there, and all kinds of stuff, and old technology, and races of humans that are no longer here for whatever
Somalis.
reasons. No, those are definitely here.
Oh, those are retards.
Those are here. Those are the short bus people.
Yeah. That's where
Yeah.
the EVTs come from.
But I've never really. That one fascinated me because. How do you explain that one? First, the beginning of the show, I remember it's a guy in an air control tower. And they're the first ones that see it. And they say when it appears, it's not like, oh, here comes this thing. It just went, whoop, and here's this 300-yard
giant triangle.
Like, and it's just slowly going by.
Yeah.
And they're just staring at this like, what the hell am I looking at?
Right.
What is this? And then they go through the county sheriffs that were involved. Like one of these policemen was like driving.
Yeah.
Like on the radio.
On the radio.
Like, I'm following this thing. It's going this way.
Right.
No explanation, no nothing about where that came from. That one to me would be the one that is probably that one in the Phoenix or the Arizona Lights. Those are the two instances where it's like that don't look like it's from around here.
Yeah, no.
Like that, the scale and the size and the speed,
the way it moved, and
the way it moved, it's like what the hell?
No sound.
Is this?
No sound.
And no sound. That's right.
No sound.
They said no sound or anything, and I'm sure other people have went back and looked where, because I don't know that it ever got real close to the ground. The closest it got was to that air traffic tower. Yeah. And hearing that guy explain how freaked out he was, and all you could get is like the magnitude of the size. He couldn't comprehend how something that big just appeared, and then it's just going over county to county.
Yeah.
Just in these rural areas, and people are like, "What's that in my backyard? It's gonna be shit."
Yeah.
So, and I believe there was another, but that one was an abduction story. I forget which Air Force base. It's on Paranormal Witness as well. But basically, for these guys, they just saw it looked like something in the woods outside of the gate. They were going, and they go up to it, and it's this black triangle. And it's just sitting there, and it's like making this buzzing sound.
Are you talking about the base in England?
No, this was in the U.S.
Okay.
It was another interesting one, but when they touched it, apparently they like lost all their memory, and then they can't. So those ones, I don't know. Could be true, could not. But to me, it's like thousands of people see a 300-yard craft moving. In different directions and going to different counties, and all those witnesses, like, how do you deny that?
And all those different witnesses described the same thing.
They described the same thing.
Yeah.
I definitely remember the no sound part of it because of the air traffic control guy. Like, he's taking off his stuff. Like,
what's propelling this?
Like, what is this?
Yeah.
And then just as soon as it came, gone. Just like that. Just gone. So I don't know what this stuff is. It does make me wonder, is it alien stuff? Stuff like that makes me go, shit, I don't know. I don't know. I
don't either. And that's okay.
But the Phoenix Light ones, I remember when those came on, it's like, are we seeing lights pop on from a giant fucking craft?
Well, the thing that got me on the Phoenix Light, because there's an Air Force base right there.
Yeah.
And they just started coming with these crazy stories, and I knew right then, That's a cover-up. Why are they even saying the things they're saying? Why do they just say, we have no idea?
And I don't know if that was true. I need to look at that as one of the presidents classified some of these sightings back in the early 1900s because he said it would make people question their faith.
Yeah.
Or something
that's
crazy
part of
like
it,
that. I feel like, I don't know.
You know, Jackie Gleason was very close to Richard Nixon, and he swore on his deathbed that Richard Nixon took him to what Air Force bases where they ended up taking the debris and everything from Roswell. And Jackie Gleason swears that he saw the alien bodies. That Nixon
Really?
He swore it, yes.
Really?
He really did.
Who's Jackie Gleason?
Did you never see Smokey and the Bandit? Folks, listen, I love Travis. And even though transgressions like not seeing Christmas Carol, Top Gun, Smokey, I just found out just now that he's not seen Smokey the Bandit. Have mercy on him, okay? Just have mercy. He knows not what he does. He knows not what he's missed. I'm quoting Christ here because this is a major deal. I make a solemn vow to you, our audience, that I will make sure that Travis sees these movies, okay? Smokey and the Bandit is an American classic, okay? Burt Reynolds, Jackie Gleason, Jerry Reed, Sally Field, okay? One of the greatest
Jackie Gleason
movies.
didn't see no. Those were probably bodies that the government put together just to
He
run
went
the
with
side.
President Nixon.
So Nixon saw all the aliens?
Yeah.
Has Trump seen them?
I don't know. What do you think?
They probably wouldn't let him see that shit.
I don't think they're going to let him. You know what? I don't think, to be honest with you, I think Trump's smart.
Yeah.
And just like the Epstein thing, I think he made a huge miscalculation. But I'll really be honest. I think he knows that Epstein was a dirtbag. That's why he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. I think he knows that.
Right.
But I think Trump has purposely done anytime that comes up, he doesn't want to know.
Yeah.
I truly believe that. He doesn't want to know because he doesn't want to open that up.
I think a lot of it could be he has some friends tied up in there, and again, I do think people will be tied up in this that didn't do anything.
Well, that's the other thing too. I think there's people that people have said are on the list, and this. Epstein knew everybody, and everybody knew
Actors,
Epstein.
musicians, fashion moguls, heads
And that
of
doesn't
industry,
mean they were all.
banking.
They didn't all go to the island. They didn't all fly on his jet.
But we do know who did.
We know at least some of them.
We know Bill Clinton.
We know Bill
the most
Clinton.
frequent flyer of the program.
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates.
We
that's
we
right.
know we do know that we know that we know. But
Well, yeah.
but here's the question. I don't care about any of I do care about it because there's victims. Who was Epstein working for?
And where did his
What
money
goods
come
did he
from?
have
Who did
on
he use it
who?
against?
Who did he
Yes.
use it? That's the stuff we want to
The
know.
black book ledger, the blackmail, all of it. It's all important, guys.
It's all
nothing
gone.
to do
That's
with,
all
we
gone.
want to see Democrat. We just want to see people get arrested.
It's all gone.
We want to see a
They'll
dismantling of these networks.
We
that
knew
are
Prince
operating.
Andrew was part of it.
Prince
the royal
Andrew.
family.
He lost his royalty.
He
over
lost his
that shit.
royalty over yeah. I mean, I want to know who was Epstein working for.
Yep.
That's what I want.
I think we all want to know that, but
And we have got our ideas, and we can speculate. The problem is, we want the evidence.
we want the evidence, and we're seeing more files being released. But again, I haven't really looked into them because are we really going to uncover anything
No.
damning?
No.
I'm really hoping that there's some investigative reporters out there that are really
They can't get anywhere near any of
trying
that
to
stuff.
tie something that we don't already know.
No.
Because right now, it all just looks so performative.
The only hopes could possibly be, and this is a possibility. There could be some Snowden figures out there somewhere that saw or part of something when they knew and dude they've got their
They got something.
They've got something. They've got their get out of jail free card, or they got their if something happens to me, there's my dead man switch and everybody gets this. I do believe there are some of those people, and dude, they keep their mouth quiet. And
Yeah,
just,
I mean, that might be one of those things we won't. I mean, we still go back and forth. We know what happened to JFK. I think at this point,
Yeah.
it's pretty obvious. We don't need official confirmation of anything. We know.
No, we know.
We know he was killed by elements in our own government.
Yes.
Look, and we'll see where this goes, but I mean, there was other stuff that Epstein was involved in. If you look at some of these photos, there was definitely mind control experiments going on. You've seen the journals for some of these victims where they're almost worshiping him.
Yeah.
And then you think about those dental chairs and some of the medical equipment, and then of course the New Mexico ranch, which was basically that was the spot for the medical experiments on genetics and immortality, and that other weirdo he was tied up with on all these genetic practices. So, guys, we're talking a lot more than just sexual abuse.
Sex. Yes.
We're talking about medical. Hardcore medical scientific debauchery, MK Ultra stuff in there. Yeah, y'all folks should go and read some of these victims, these scrapbooks that they would make for Epstein, and the stuff they would say in it, and the way they would talk to each other. It's just totally abnormal. Some of these pictures, they're pretty redacted, but I mean, he's got toddlers in his lap, folks, in some of these pictures. Toddlers. So this isn't some rich dude who would get massages from underage girls or anything like that. This goes way deeper than this. And a lot of these experiments and these sciences, people are still fascinated by. So I have no doubt that's what was happening. So that means as far as the island's concerned, who knows? We do know at least an element that the government's not admitted to. They were doing snuff films out there. So that's actually paying people to die on film, either being tortured to death or sexually tortured to death or anything along those lines. You're talking about a literal hell on earth. So yeah, folks, we need to see what part of that network is still operational, what governments used it for blackmail, if there's still blackmail being used on these, and who else was involved in the abuse of these victims. We need to see it all. Will we?
Nope.
Chances are very slim.
Unless it's like
the best chance was after he got arrested.
Yeah.
And that place, his properties,
they went in there and gathered.
Were cleaned up so fast and make your head spin. So I don't even know. Was it the FBI that was involved? We know that SDNY was involved with this New York place. There was obviously a mechanism already in place to help quell a lot of this information. And look, if Hillary Clinton can bleach bit her server, you can imagine there was already stuff in place when it came to Epstein stuff. And Epstein had to die. He absolutely had to die, because a person like Epstein, you rub elbows like that in all those circles, you really think you're going to spend the rest of your life in jail? No, you're going to cop a plea. And he died, and then Bongino and Kash Patel said, "That's it. That's a wrap. That's a wrap." He killed himself.
Almighty, I still can't believe those guys went on.
Pretty damn frustrating, folks. But man, there is outside of the darkness in this world, there is just there's so much mystery around the truth of things. You don't have to go look for aliens and UFOs to do all this kind of stuff. You can just look right here at some of these cases that we're covering today. What's going on with these? What are these normal now UFO sightings over major power grids? What's going on at Brown Universe? Are they covering up for the actual shooter because of the dynamics of his skin tone and probably his religious affiliation and political?
There's some going on.
There's some crazy shit going on out there. So the wild and fantastical stuff really isn't that far from your fingertips if you're just looking at some of this. And we're all asking the same question. So, the MAGA movement itself, unfortunately, we are seeing it fall apart before our very eyes. And it's a leaderless movement. Now, you've got people trying to interject themselves as leaders to this. You got people like Ben Shapiro coming out there, Mark Levin. You've got some of the mainstream folks. Nobody's following those guys.
Boomers are.
Nobody's.
The boomers
will go in part to it, but it really shows how much Charlie Kirk was holding so much of this shit together with not just the base of voters that for sure are Republican, they would go for Trump, but for people that were asking questions on the outside. Fierce debater, very effective at it. In my opinion, that was the main reason he was killed.
The PBD podcast from yesterday, the day before, floated out some very interesting intel that they said they have from an inside source that J.D. Vance was going to pick Charlie Kirk as his VP.
I think there was definitely presidential aspirations there.
And then after that 8 years,
it was Kirk.
Kirk was going to, guess who he was going to have as his VP? Don Jr.
Oh, God.
They said they got this information. PBD's pretty...
Honestly, I could see it, though. I mean,
that was the game
when
plan.
I think of Charlie Kirk, and it's like, you
that
want a
would've been
fucking president, that would have been the best one. That would have head over heels better than Trump. And again, we're not Trump bashers here.
No, dude,
but Charlie would have been the most effective leader I
Yeah.
think the country has ever seen in a long time, hundreds of years.
Yeah.
That was but man, it's just we are a headless chicken right now.
Yeah, we really are. We're leaderless.
We're basically
we're leaderless.
you know, and we've covered a lot of the angles from Candace Owens on here, from Alex Jones, from even the standpoint of people like Jack Posobiec,
Matt
Walsh, and you know, so it's good to have all these angles, but now it's just kind of turned into this feud that it's just not interesting to a lot of people anymore, because now it's just a bunch
now
of,
it's Nick Fuentes is the one that's
now it's Nick
emerging.
Fuentes, he's the one emerging out of it, and now it's like, well, the mainstream GOP is not doing themselves any favor. We don't want to go rally around neocons.
No.
The neocons screwed it all up when they fucked up Ron Paul's campaign.
They're still
in his
following.
debates.
They're still following the guy. Who was the guy? The architect for George W. Bush, the bald-headed guy.
Karl Rove.
Karl Rove. They're still following.
Yeah, it's those
Karl Rove
acolytes
has
and those. Yeah.
tremendous power still within the GOP, and it's the Karl Rove Fox News syndicate that's trying to hold on to power here.
Right.
And it's the Gen Xers that are going.
Well, and I'm starting to wonder, it's like maybe that's what the Israel lobby's really needed for. It's to hold up a lot of the mainstream neoconservative
Well, of course it is.
part of the party.
Absolutely.
And that's the best. And by the way, that's a good point. So is it Susan Wiles? Susan, who's the
Susan Wiles? It's Trump's chief of staff.
Trump's chief of staff.
She is. Oh my God.
So why in the hell would you ever do a
Oh.
Vanity Fair media article and then have to come out and defend it? Well, you know it's going to be a smear
God.
piece. I thought she was like this top of the food chain Politico that know how to navigate these kind of waters.
You can't.
And now we
say-
got to sit there and we got to argue over the merits of a Vanity Fair conference.
At
Why
the-
is
at
that
the,
even?
At the end of the day, she's a chick.
Well,
At the
Vanity
end
Fair.
of the day,
Vanity Fair.
at the end of the day, she's a chick.
But what was interesting is you saw a full social media campaign from everybody in his cabinet defending Susan. Now, if you're like me, I look at that and go, that's weird.
Oh.
That's fucking weird.
It's weird.
Why is RFK Jr. defending Susan?
Because that's Trump's gal.
And you know, she's the one
Same
who's
reason
helping
they're-
facilitate these campaigns for the midterms. It ain't gonna work.
It ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work on the Gen Zers.
The Gen Zs, no. But a lot of this Zoomer generation, they're not gonna come out and vote, dude.
No.
What's the reason? Oh, so we got, what is it, 40, 50 million people here illegally? Probably more than that. Oh, we got 2 million deportations. Well, good fucking job, I guess.
And the 40 to 50 million illegals, those are the illegals. Those aren't the legal immigrants.
That's
like all
not
these
even-
Somalis, those
So,
are legal immigrants.
it's like,
the
what are-
H-1B
what is the
visas,
generation's gonna, they're looking at us going, y'all been participating in this for your whole life and
Right.
this is what you get?
Yeah.
Like, why, what I'm gonna start now? I'm gonna go vote in this and I can see, oh, maybe we can import 70 million illegals and then 5 million get deported on that go round. Like, it's just a never ending cycle. So something's got to give here eventually. Either we're talking about some high profile arrest, we're talking about actual Antifa networks getting destabilized, not setting up some turtle campaign in the middle of a desert led by an FBI agent like it was in the Governor Whitmore case.
Go back and watch the movie Civil War.
I got to see it now.
You haven't seen it? Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. I'm not setting him up. I'm making assumptions here. He's my bro. I love him. I take a bullet for him, and I take this is my personal responsibility for letting this happen. It's tragedy, but I'm going to fix it. I'm going to fix it, Travis.
We'll fix it.
You need to watch that movie. It is, the depictions in that movie, a lot of right-wingers, a lot of boomers didn't like it because they were expecting some movie showing that the Republicans were going to wipe out all the lefties because the lefties are a bunch of pussies.
It's not that black and white.
It's not that at all, no. And the guys that did that film, they were pretty brilliant. And how they did it and the depictions of it, and I thought it was an incredible film. And I think it probably is going, because the Civil War has started. This is another thing that people don't understand. The Civil War has begun. We've got dead bodies. We have assassinated leaders.
We got assassinated leaders.
The Civil War has begun.
Yeah, it happened,
and it's just heating up. So it's here. It's coming. There's going to be massive loss of life, massive, something the world has never seen before, and it's here, and it's escalating very quickly, and you need to watch that movie Civil War.
See, folks, and the other thing too is a lot of these stories and these other things, they're not really getting talked about on what you're really trying to see. You've got third world immigrants absolutely uprooting our culture and everything America stands
Everything.
for. And then you got a left wing that absolutely hates everything to do with the country and the people that live in it and want to kill you, want to celebrate on your family's grave once you pass. And then you've got a government that's covering it all up. They're either part of creating these groups and causing the strife, or they're leading them and fomenting them. The government's not doing, well, I like to say what it's designed to do, but it's never designed to do what it says it does. The government's only role is self-preservation.
To grow.
And to grow. Like a
it's an
parasite,
organism.
like a living organism.
It's a living
that
organism.
lives off a live host.
That's right.
And yeah, things could get pretty hairy here soon. So, we'll cap it off there. Tune in next week to the Defiance Daily Show. We'll be back on Monday at a regular scheduled time.
We'll have
12 p.m. Central.
We'll have our technological.
Well, our tech issues will be figured out. So thank you, folks, for watching. Don't forget to visit defiancepress.com. Go check out our books. Check out our catalog. If you're in the market for a publisher, hit the Get Published link. Follow the protocols, or give us a call 281-581-9300. This is the Defiance Daily Show. Stay armed, stay vigilant, and stay reliable.
God bless you all.
Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. See you in the new year, folks. God bless.